What's up, everybody? Public channel right here. Going to give you the November 22nd, Tuesday 22nd Lake Fork rundown with a few extras for you. I want you guys to know that I do love you, the public viewers, even though you're not members. Okay, so let's give it up. The lake, as always. Public gets the lake information. 39599. We finally have fallen below 7 feet. But believe it or not, for some reason, they kind of stabilized the lake. 39598 from yesterday to today. Not really any change. 0 to 1 foot, 0 to 2 foot. I put two different days there because it just kind of depends on where you go on the lake. There's still some clarity in some areas down south. Cheney Creek, for example. The mouth of Little Caney, the dam. You're going to see clearer water than if you do run up north or in the backs of creeks and different drains. Temperatures are ranging from 54 to 58 degrees. We're starting to get to that real critical temperature range where the big bass know now that winter's here. It's cold water. They start to almost become lethargic when we go below 54 degrees. And so they are feeding. Fishing is still tough. I just am really shocked that in Lake Fork we do not get a good fall bite anymore. We just don't. We haven't for 3 years. The Texas Parks and Wildlife did their survey, and they actually said that the numbers of fish, in the shallows anyways, were extremely low. Their count was very, very low. I've got a lot of buddies that fish the lake, a lot of local friends after being here 10 years and guiding on the lake, a lot of guides, and a lot of guys that have live scope and use it real proficiently. And the word is, even with live scope, there are no fish in the shallow waters. It's hard to find fish. Now, don't take that wrong. I'm putting this out there publicly. I'm not bashing Lake Fork. It's full of big fish. Last spring was one of the best springs I've ever had in 10 years here. Didn't have double-digit numbers like I have in past years, meaning a lot of double digits. But a lot of big fish in the 8-9 pound range, especially Bass Lady Brooke. You know her. She caught 15 fish in 6 weeks, over 9 pounds. My clients were catching them. It just, the March, April, May, June was outrageous. It was really good. The lake is full of big fish, what I'm getting at. But the overall number count isn't. I really credit that to the massive tournaments. In 2015, 2016, we had a big spawn. Lake came full pool, 15, 16, 17, 18, massive spawns. And for quite a while there, we were catching lots of little fish. In fact, I do remember back in 2017, you could go to any bridge corner, any bridge pylon, and catch fish up to 12 inches all day long with a little drop shot. You could catch 100 of them a day. And you say, well, where did those fish go? Why are we not catching them? They've grown now. They should be 3, 4, 5 pound fish. Where did they go? And why does Texas Parks and Wildlife say that the lake is depleted? That's the biologists themselves studying the lake saying it's depleted. Why? Why is it depleted? This is only my opinion, as everything I ever say on this channel. But those small fish got to 15.5 inches and they took a live well ride. That's what's happened. We got 5 major tournaments a year that host over 800, 900, 1,000 boats. You cannot have that many fish on a daily basis getting stuffed in live wells and drug around on the lake. You just can't. And I really believe very strongly, in my opinion, that those fish are dying off. We are killing our new stock. It's like trying to protect the deer, and every time that we got an open doe season and kill all the babies. We really need to rethink the ink. I hope somebody from Texas Parks and Wildlife does watch this public channel and takes this to extreme, because I'm not the only one who feels this way. There are dozens and dozens of guides. There are hundreds of local people that know that the lake is depleted. You said it yourselves. Texas Parks and Wildlife study, biologists study. You need to ask why. Here's my point. I can go, you can go, an average fisherman can go to any one of the surrounding lakes within 60 miles here. Lake Athens, Gilmer, Holbrook, Quitman, Winsboro, Lake Welsh. And all you got to do is tie on a little square bill or a little spinnerbait or a little underspin, run bank like you should in the fall, and you will catch fish. It's a no-brainer. The counts are there. The fish are there to be caught. They just aren't in Fork. It's still full of big fish. This is a great time to break out your live scope and go search those trees and find those big fish suspending in the trees. There is no better lake in the country for big fish than Lake Fork. It just grows them. It always has. the top 10 biggest bass in Texas come from Lake Fork. So again, this was not an intention to bash the lake, but it definitely needs to get our wheels turning. We buy a fishing license. We are the ones that support by buying those fishing licenses, and our words should value more. We need to speak up and decide how, what, and why Lake Fork is having these fall issues and a depletion of fish. All right, with that being said, no more negativity. I love the lake. It's a great lake. It's still, right now, what I want to do is I want to give you guys something cool. I've talked about fishing in most of these rundowns, but I've had a lot of you say, you know, you don't give the baits up like you used to. You're trying to drive us to the members only channel, and of course I am. If you watch YouTube, if you watch all of the people now, all the pros, all the YouTubers, they've all started a members only channel. And a members only channel is very valuable to get even more in-depth information. I believe that my members only channel for $4.99 is peanuts. Peanuts for the information that I do share in it. I have an upgraded members only channel now, $9.99. It gets in depth with a lesson, a weekly lesson, and a monthly random winner that's going to get a care package of baits, t-shirts, and so on throughout the year, a monthly winner. And so I really do want to drive you to that, but I also want you again to know that I love you, and I really appreciate your original free public subscription. I want you to tell your friends about the public subscription. So right now we're going to share some baits with you. If I was you, I'm not fishing Lake Fork this week or this weekend, but if I was to go out on Fork this weekend, there's really only 3 baits that I would particularly throw, maybe 4. But one of them is a 5/8 ounce sand tone swim jig in the color mean green. I would put on a full size 5-inch Reactions Innovation skinny dipper. However, I probably would cut about a 1/4 inch off of that skinny dipper, so it's just a little bit shorter profile. I want the overall to be 5 inches. If I put a 5-inch on this, it's going to be 6 inches. So I'm going to take a Reactions Innovation skinny dipper, cut the front head off, and use that as my trailer. The color is mean green. This catches giant fish in the winter when they come up and sunbathe in the shallow water. Just ask Jason Hoffman how many 10, 11, and 12-pound fish this bait has produced at this time of year. Okay, so I'd be throwing this. Second, I love this bait. I can't remember what Strike King calls it. I know 6 Cents calls it Lava Truce. This is a Strike King square bill. This is the 2.0, I think it is. It might be the 2.5, but it's not the giant one and it's not the little one. It's the mid-size square bill. It's kind of got like a chili bowl back with a chartreuse belly. I wish I did offhand. I can't remember what they call this color. But this color right now, I would be throwing this, no ifs, ands, or buts, as a search bait. I would be throwing all these baits shallow. I'd be fishing main lake points, secondary points, and channel swings where the channel swings next to the bank. That's all I would be exclusively on the points, main lake, secondary, and channel swings only. I wouldn't just be running bank unless I knew there was bait fish at present. My final bait, which I really love the most, and you can almost, if you just don't put this down, if you look at this Alabama rig as a spinnerbait on steroids, this is a Smash rig, and these are weedless, owner weedless flashies, or actually just, they're not flashies, just weedless hook, okay? You don't have to be owner, but just a weedless weighted 1/8 ounce, 1/16 ounce weedless weighted hook with a Reaction Innovation Little Dipper. Okay, this is a color white trash, and the one thing I'll tell you is I'm going to have 4 white trashes on the outside color, and this inside here, this one right now is actually IU. I would want chartreuse. If you can get lime truce or dip this, take it and dip it and spike it and make the whole thing pure chartreuse. I want the middle to be solid chartreuse. That gives them a focal point when they hit. They strike for the center of this Alabama rig and they get a face full of hooks. If I don't do that, if I don't give them a focal point, sometimes I can miss fish. They'll be targeting on the outside edge and you'll miss them because they're only looking at hitting one bait. I want them to come for the center of the bait and get a face full of hooks. But I would take this weedless Alabama rig and I would run and chuck this by every single tree and stump that I could see on every single main lake point and secondary point, especially the ones that are sun-baked. So remember, the sun rises in the east. Consider that the sun shining in the water is like you and I putting a blanket on. So those fish feel that immediately. Those rays coming through hit their body. They're absorbing the energy. They're absorbing the UV. So those fish will rise in those trees just to get that sunlight. But this was really the one I would never put it down right now, and I'd throw my arm off with it. Don't need long casts, short casts, and you're going to fish 3 to 5 foot with this rig. Okay, 3 to 5 foot max with that rig. Even if the tree's in 20 feet of water, 3 to 5 foot, throw around them big, huge trees that got all the appendages out there in the middle of no man's land, or out on Sawmill, out in front of Dale. Just get out there and find those bigger trees that you feel like those fish should suspend in. Chuck this by them and hang on, because if you get bit on this, it's going to be a big one. All right. By the way, this is the Reaction Innovation Little Dipper Bag. That's what they look like. You can get them at Lake Fork Resort, I think, and I believe Oak Ridge, but I know Lake Fork Resort carries these. I know the Lake Fork Marina carries the Smash Tech Smash Rig. I know the Lake Fork Marina carries the Square Bill, and I know the Lake Fork Marina carries the Sandtone swim jigs. So does the Lake Fork Resort. Okay, the resort also carries the Square Bill. So, all right, guys, that's it. I hope that helps you. I would be fishing the main lake stuff too. I wouldn't, when I say main lake, I don't mean out of the main lake, but just a lot of the main lake points. I don't feel like the fall pulled everything into the backs of the creeks. And I think a lot of those big fish with low lake that we have, they're just still staying out there and those suspending in those main trees. They've really been doing it for a lot. You might find the mouth too, like the mouths of any creek and cove where those trees are out there in the middle, and they can be 12, 14, 16, 18 feet of water, but you're going to find plenty of trees to chuck these kinds of baits by. And one last thing, red clay. Remember now, for the next 8 to 9 weeks, maybe a little bit longer, red clay shorelines. The red clay banks absorb heat, and they really warm up the shallow water. And you can end up having a 10, 11-pound fish up there in 10 or 12 inches of water on those red clay do-nothing banks. And something like this little square bill lands right by his face, her face, and she can't help but snap at it. I mentioned there was one other bait that I might be throwing, and that would be the same color in a rattle trap. Because we don't have grass, I'm not a rattle trap guy. But there's a lot of you that love to throw a rattle trap through the wood and the points with all the timber. So rattle trap too, by the way, could be really good. I really believe that I just gave the public just as good of a rundown as I give the members. I did not give you specific areas like using the rule of 3, where to be fishing right now. You're going to have to go kind of search the lake yourself, but I did. I gave you main lake points, secondary points, channel swings. Told you mid-lake. So I hope that comes through. And you feel my love for you, and you know that I appreciate you as public viewers. With that being said, please listen. My members only channel is $4.99 a month. This bait costs twice that. I know you're going to go out and lose a couple of these to the trees. You're willing to do that. Why wouldn't you be willing to spend $4.99 to come over to my members only channel, where I give a lot more details? Right now, there are about 5 different lakes in the vicinity that are absolutely on fire. One of my buddies caught 70 bass the other day from one of those lakes. 70 bass in 4 hours. And the top 5 fish reached a range of 27 pounds. Frog bite. That's right, a frog bite. So please consider at least try it. Come over and check out the members only channel, $4.99. If you really do like that members only channel, then you can maybe bump it up to the members express, I'm going to call it. It's called Let's Talk Fishing. Once a week, I give a full-blown, detailed lesson where I use a big board right here, and I really get in depth, as a lot of the pros are doing right now. I know Todd Castledine. I can go on my Facebook and dig up pros' names who are turning to members only, because that information that they're sharing, that I'm sharing, it's worth it, it's valuable, and it really is not asking an arm and leg for you guys to do that. So leave that be. I appreciate you. I'm Mike McFarland giving you a great public rundown. If you did like it, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, comment below, and I hope to see you on Thursday.